Hey, what's up guys? Dr. Bijuu back again, except I'm gonna be Dr. Bijuu on myself. What? It's a little bit confusing, okay? But you probably already seen the title and the thumbnail. Today's actually gonna be a little more of a serious video. We are reacting to MinuteVideos once again, and I can actually proudly say that I was a collaborator. I did a video with MinuteVideos. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so I have absolutely no idea how it's gonna go. Of course, I recorded my voice for, for the video, but I've not seen any of the animation except for the thumbnail, and I also seen that my video got 726,000 views. Holy crap. I say my video, I meant like my story. It's their video. They did the work. I just voiced it and wrote the story, of course. I like how they gave me my old hair, my green hair. They're like, that's when he was good. Listen, I miss the hair too. I do, okay? But I had to dye it back or else all my hair's gonna fall out. Then I won't have any hair. Which one would you rather want? You want baldy Michael? Then I'll be really baldy, okay? Or do you want me to save my hair? Might I just say, MinuteVideos has been blowing up. Almost 1 million subscribers already, and I see that view count. They are doing really, really well for themselves, and I'm really happy because I like MinuteVideos. We've done a few reactions to them before, guys, but yeah, again, don't expect me to go emotional and cry. I don't think I will. And again, I have not seen this at all, so it's gonna be interesting to see their interpretation of my words in story form. So that's the thing I'm gonna be like looking at the most. Anyway, without further ado, we're gonna react to My Dad Passed Away Before I Could Tell Him How I Felt. We are saying it out loud. I don't know why I'm laughing. Is it a coping mechanism? I don't know. I'm actually a little nervous. Like, I've heard it, but I don't know. Hey, that's me. Sorry, I'm being stupid. I'm stalling. So my parents had been divorced since I can remember, and the only times I remember them being together was when they would fight about something. In fact, it got so bad, my mom started calling the If you look really closely, you can find me in this video. I can't believe how well they drew me. Look at me. Sorry, okay? I gotta make jokes, especially in my own video, all right? In fact, it got so bad, my mom resorted to calling the cops, and after that, I wouldn't see my dad for months or even years. Yes, that is true. I find it interesting, their interpretation. Like, my parents did not look this good together. And although, like, I have glasses now, and ever since I've been on YouTube, I've had glasses, but I actually only started wearing glasses up until like it's been a few years now. Like, I started wearing glasses a little bit before I started YouTube. So a lot of my adult life, I've actually wasn't wearing glasses, but then all of a sudden I needed them. So when I was a kid, I never ever wore glasses. And my dad has red hair here. I just find it interesting. There's nothing wrong with it, since I never gave them a picture or anything like that. It's just their interpretation, which is very interesting. One of the few good memories that I have with my dad is sitting down to watch Cow and Chicken and Johnny Bravo. Honestly, I loved those times. Oh, dude. I never had anyone else to watch cartoons with me and laugh like he would at the silly jokes and even the dirty ones that I didn't really understand half of the time. It's true though. Those shows are always putting dirty jokes in there. Like, if you go back and watch like Dexter's Laboratory today, or like Cow and Chicken, Johnny Bravo, there was a lot of dirty jokes in there that as a kid you never understood. And now I think, like, when me and my dad would watch those cartoons together, it was probably only a few times we actually did that, but it actually meant a lot to me that we did that together. I don't know why, but I just oh God, no. I'm not getting emotional. Don't worry, just in case that ever happens, I have a fidget spinner, a Naruto fidget spinner. I spin this when I'm feeling fidgety. Look at little Bijuu. Their artist is really good. I never questioned why my parents had gotten divorced. All I knew is that they didn't get along. I would often blame my mom for not taking me to see him, but as I grew up, I started to realize that my dad wasn't exactly the hero that I had imagined him to be. I remember my older sister telling me that my dad used to have a drinking problem, and neither my mom or dad could keep a job, and they would get into these huge arguments where they would start throwing things would get smashed, and they would even sometimes put holes in the walls. And sometimes it would get so bad that it would end up with my dad physically restraining my mom while someone had to call the cops. Oh, my family. It became a vicious cycle that turned us into a broken family. Yes, honestly, like, growing up, I never had a normal family. Like, honestly, like, growing up, like, my dad, like, I would see him every now and then, but all I ever known was just my mom being there and my sister. And trust me, that wasn't no fairy tale either. It was quite the opposite. My normal growing up as a child is very, very weird. Like I knew from an early age that drugs was bad, which most people don't figure that out until even like way later into adults, because people like to experiment and all these things. But that's people's personal opinions. I'm against drugs, even the ones that aren't harmful. I don't really like that. I don't even like smoking, okay? I have smoked a cigarette before, but I didn't really like it. Or no, it wasn't a cigarette, it was like a cigar, but you get the point. That's as far as I've ever gone when it comes to that. Wow, I'm getting off topic, kind of. I mean, because of my parents, because I knew that that was bad. Like my sister would tell me that those things are bad, and I just somehow, I don't remember the exact moment I figured it out, but I always knew that what my parents did was bad and that I shouldn't do it. Even though like I didn't have the best childhood, I always thanked them, like sort of, because I never had to figure that out for myself. I seen it firsthand. I wish I had a laptop when I was little. I would beg my mom to give me a Game Boy, and she never would, because we couldn't afford it. She did give me a GameCube one time, but then she took it back. It sounds so bad, but like when I was growing up, it didn't seem like it was that bad. I mean, although when she took the GameCube back, I was heartbroken. Okay, I loved that GameCube. She would do that quite often. Like she would buy me things and take it back because she, like, I don't know, didn't have a lot of money or realized that she needed money or she shouldn't have spent that. Yeah, I never want to do that to my kid. It's just like, okay, let's not get off topic. Let's keep going. When I got a little older, I would visit my dad at his house where he lived with his sisters and his other family members. I remember it was always filled with smoke and was unkept and very, very messy. It was barely a house if it didn't have any walls and a roof. Everyone there, including my dad, was on drugs, and they wasted their lives away watching movies 24/7. They weren't exactly responsible adults. Most of them never worked a day in their life, and they would be late on their bills. Every time I was over at my dad's house, he'd make me these kinds of big promises, like we would go fix an old go-kart that laid in the back of his yard. Cliche, I know, but it's true. It is. It's very cliche. But things like that never happened. Yeah, okay, sorry. I like to, this is cool. I like their format, so like I can actually, like, when I'm done with the segment, I could talk about it. It's really interesting. That story is actually, it's very true. Like, you know, when your dad says, oh, we'll go fix up the go-kart together, son. Like, that sounds so, like something from a cartoon that you would see on, like, Fairly Odd Parents or something like that, but it is true. Backstory. This house that my dad lived in, which was like a town away from where I lived, probably like 30 minutes away. He lived together with his, like, most of his family on his side. He lived there with him, his sister, his brother-in-laws, and things like that. That house always smelled like smoke. Like, I'm pretty sure I got so much secondhand smoke. Very, very bad place to be. The fact that my dad even wanted to bring me around there was pretty bad. But that was one of the only ways I could have seen him, because like him and my mom being in the same room for more than 5 seconds never worked out. There's very few memories I have of them, even my dad visiting, to come over. It was never good. It never turned out good. Also, I didn't get did I get an ad on this? I hope I got an ad on it. I really hope that your video got monetized. YouTube is like, you know, freaking, I have a lot to say about that. They'll demonetize you for the dumbest things. It's like you can't even tell your life story without being worried that you're gonna get demonetized. I see that there's like ads right here, but I hope that you got ads because you guys deserve it. I'm getting off topic again. So the house that my dad lived in with his family was really junky, like lots of stuff. My dad was a legit hoarder, okay? When I would go into his room, his bed would be covered in things, and he wouldn't even sleep on his own bed. In fact, I have no idea where he slept because his bed would be covered with stacks of, it could be books, it could be junk of the things that he was fixing, because my dad loved to fix up things. He was a really good mechanic and loved to fix things, and you know, that's what makes this story so sad to me, because he really had a whole lot of potential. Like, he was actually really smart, but not smart at the same time, like, if that makes any sense. And so the rest of the house was actually not that much different from his room, because his backyard was literally a junkyard, okay? And among the many things, you guys think I'm joking. Have you ever played the game Borderlands? You know how it's like a desolate desert with a bunch of junk everywhere? That's how it was in my dad's backyard. Like, I was half expecting some, like, mutated guy to run out at me, and I'd have to shoot him with my gun, okay? That's related to Borderlands YouTube, okay? Oh my god, the more I think about it, the worse it gets. There literally was someone... There literally was someone living out, multiple people living in their backyard. This guy lived in a tent in my dad's backyard, and I remember going out there and there was a tent out there. Dear God, it was bad. Okay, and this is what my dad called home. By the way. And so yeah, he had a go-kart and he promised me that we'd fix it. And I'm like, when I was little, like I would see people, there was this person on my block that would drive this go-kart around. It was a Dr. Pepper go-kart for some reason. I don't know how they got that, but I always thought it looked really cool. So when my dad told me that we were gonna fix up a go-kart, I took him very seriously because understand this, when you tell a little kid something, they will believe it, okay? For the most part, they will believe it and they'll get so excited. So imagine little Bijuu here, all right, on the side. I was super excited to get this go-kart fixed because I knew my dad knew how to fix things and I thought we'd be driving it around, but it literally stayed in about that state. That's about right. So it's probably, actually, I bet you that go-kart is still back there right now in that yard. Despite all of this, none of it really mattered to me because I got to be with my dad, even if it wasn't in the best situation. My dad was muscular, strong, funny, and I loved being around him because to me, he was like Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Hey. I know, it sounds crazy, but I would literally have these daydreams in which we would actually be Goku and Gohan. Hey, look at that art though! A pair beating up the bad guys. And yeah, I know, I'm a weeb. This is actually true. Sorry, well, I'll let it finish. But as I grew older, I realized that my dad wasn't very much like Goku at all. And I began to realize that my daydreams of fighting bad guys with my dad was only just that. Yeah, okay, so this is a like I said, it's a very personal video for me. You guys know how much I love anime and things like that. Well, like, the first anime I ever watched was Dragon Ball Z, which, you know, that's pretty normal, I would say, for my age group. But yeah, I would have these dumb imaginations when I was little. It's embarrassing. It's actually kind of embarrassing to talk about. But yeah, I would have these, like, fantasies of me and my dad being like from Dragon Ball Z, and I always thought like he was Goku, and because like it's weird how you do that to yourself. Like when I was little, I'd watch Dragon Ball Z and I would relate it to my life somehow, even though like Goku, by the way, is a horrible father. Goku is a legit bad father. He's never with Gohan, by the way. This is like great art. I love this. Piccolo was the one that raised Gohan, and Goku was never there. Although granted, Goku was the strongest person in the universe, right? Which understandably, he had to train. Okay, I get it. Like, the bad guys were going to destroy Earth, all right? My dad wasn't that cool. But to me, like when I was little, I thought he was really cool. Like I always wanted to be like my dad, you know? I didn't realize how bad it actually was until a little later on, but yeah. When I was around 12 years old, I was living with my older sister because my mom was literally unable to take care of me, let alone herself, due to her own bad habits. That's a whole nother story, by the way. Around that time, my dad ended up coming to live with me and my sister, where she tried to take care of him and take him away from his destructive habits, which she was actually successful for a while, and he was sober for around a year. But eventually, he went back to his old ways, and my sister had no other choice but to kick him out. I remember being so angry at him, and I threw away nearly everything he had given me. I was so mad. I felt frustrated and I felt hurt, but once again, I knew that he would walk out of the door and I wouldn't see him for a really long time. I'm gonna tell my sister, hey, this is you. Like, it obviously doesn't look like my family, but like that, again, understandable. Like, it's just them guessing. It's so interesting to me. My dad actually, he never drunk after what my sister told me. But you know, the other stuff, basically the short story is yeah, my dad came to live with us, and you know, when you guys heard what I said about the house that he was staying in, it was really bad. It was a bad environment for him to be in, especially for someone that's trying to recover from, you know, their bad habits, drugs, and you know, all that. So when he came to live with us, it was a good feeling, because, and it was a weird time in my life too, because like all these years that I didn't get to spend with my dad, I don't know, how old was I? I was probably around 12 or 13. Maybe I was 11. I don't know, I was around that age. And it was weird because like when I finally lived with my dad again, like I would be really clingy to him. Like now that I think about it, that was actually the first time I actually lived with my dad. Like I visited him a lot and I would spend the night like at his house, at his place and things like that. But that was actually the first time that I lived with my own dad for years. The only time, like I was a baby when my parents were actually together. So yeah, that was something weird to think about. And like, I didn't realize it at the time because I was so young, but I was very clingy to my dad. I remember I would always be like hugging him and trying to like, you know, I don't know, trying to spend time with him, or, you know, I'm sure I was really annoying, to be honest, but I realize now that, yeah, I was just trying to make up for the time lost. And I just didn't know, I guess, what it was really like to have a dad. I don't know. My voice just cracked. I'm not getting emotional. Like, it's just me going through puberty again all the time. I'm gonna talk in a deep voice like this from now on. But yeah, I remember my dad, like, it must have been tough for him to change environments like that, because I remember him being really bored at times, and he would actually tell me to go like walk around with him, and I wouldn't want to because I was actually pretty overweight back then. That's when I gained a lot of weight. But it's just crazy, like, actually, like, these memories coming back to me as I watch this. And yeah, so when my sister found out that he was like basically bringing in stuff that he wasn't supposed to be bringing in the house, because that's, you know, the things that he was doing over there is like obviously like a no-no. So when we realized that he had that kind of stuff going on, she had to kick him out. You know, I haven't even talked about my sister in this video. Like, you know, she's my sister and it was her father as well. Like, so she probably felt the same way. And I know, you know, we obviously spent a lot of time together, and she didn't want to do that, but, you know, she kind of had to. And I don't really blame her for having to, you know, basically do that. But it's sad because she probably felt the same way. You know, she wanted to have a relationship with my dad and spend time with him. And it's just really, really sad. I don't even know what to say about it. All I think about when I think of this kind of stuff is that I don't want to be this way whenever I have children, I guess. And I also take having children really seriously. It's like something I don't even want to do yet, but like, it's scary. It's a scary thing because I know firsthand like what it's like to be on the child end of parents that are you know, to put it the best way I can, not the best parents you could have. And it's just such a weird situation. Like, it's not because my dad was like raising us. We were literally taking, my sister was literally taking care of my dad. And when I think about it, it's so messed up. It's so reversed, and it should not be that way. Yeah, so like at this point in my life, and again, guys, you can watch my Draw My Life. A lot of this is in my Draw My Life as well. Or maybe not a lot of this, but, you know, more backstory to my life. But yeah, my sister had custody of me because my mom was like, no, you would think one of my parents would have picked up the slack, but no, they sure did not. I mean, for what it's worth, my mom did put a roof over my head, and I am thankful for that. And she, you know, for the most part, made sure we were fed, and, you know, I can thank her for those things, for sure. Anyway, moving on. You know, I consider myself blessed for not turning out like either one of my parents. And when I was 21 years old, I ended up moving out of my sister's house and I got married. I was beginning... I like how I have green hair through the entire thing. I was beginning a different chapter in my life and things were picking up in a positive way. But out of the blue, I got a call from my dad. I remember his voice sounding so bad on the phone, and I struggled to fight back the tears. They were welling up in my eyes and I could barely even get a word out. Now that I was older, I was starting to realize that my dad wasn't Goku or Superman or any kind of superhero. He was just a man who hadn't been there for his kids, but for whatever reason, I still loved him. I wanted desperately to have a connection, you know, a father-son relationship, something normal. I managed to tell him that I needed to have a serious talk, and I didn't want him to joke around or pretend like everything was fine like he did most of the time. Yeah, that was an interesting day. I actually just came home from church when that happened. I was alone. I think my wife was at work, and I got a phone call from him. I think he maybe left a voicemail and I called him back, or I don't know. Either way, he called me, and yeah, he talked to me, and I remember it's been a while since we actually talked, and then yeah, like it brought up a lot of emotions in me for some reason that time, because it's probably not the first time I've talked to him, but you know, I would go years without talking to my dad until randomly I would somehow get a call from him or something, you know, I can't even remember the conversation exactly, but I remember him really actually sounding like crap, and he said, I remember him saying like literally that he was like, I used to feel like Superman, but I kind of don't anymore. And it's kind of sad because, like, you know, the reason why he said that is because, like, the way that he would talk to me was kind of like as if I was a child still. Even though obviously I was an adult. but he would still kind of talk to me that way, and you can tell that he didn't know how to talk to me, because in truth we were complete strangers. It just kind of, even when I talked to my dad, like, it felt phony, you know, it felt fake, because I knew that inside that we were strangers. Like, we don't actually know each other, and what I do know of my dad is not good things. Just, yeah, thinking about it now, it's hard. But I remember in that particular moment it was very hard. Like, I did cry a lot after that phone call. And it's like, it's so weird, because like, I don't even cry like that. I don't. It just kind of, those emotions just kind of come out of nowhere, and it's really crazy. But yeah, it was a tough call. I didn't want him to joke around or pretend like everything was fine like he did most of the time. So once again, I went back to that horrible smoke-filled house that he was still living in after all of these years, fully intent on telling him exactly how I felt and how much I resented him for not trying to be a better dad. At the very least, I just wanted to know why. But when I arrived, he made me feel really bad for him. I could already tell from looking at him, but he began telling me about his arthritis and how he had other health issues. And in the end, I ended up holding back, thinking, what's the point? And instead, I made the effort to spend some more time together, but once again, he didn't keep his word, and I was left feeling stupid. And I came to the realization that he was never gonna change. Look at Bijuu riding the subway. Oh god, I just love the fact that they drew me my whole life with the green hair. I honestly do. I love this video. It's really great. I mean, it's weird, but like in a good way. To put more context into this situation, yeah, it was weird. So in that phone call, we decided to meet up, and I wanted to go to his house again, and I went back to that freaking house, and you know, I went there. And I told him over the phone that I wanted to talk to him. I really wanted to have a conversation, like an adult conversation. And not, I didn't want him talking to me in that same way that we did before. And, you know, so I went there, and I wanted to speak my mind. I really did. I really wanted to speak my mind. And it's hard for me to get mad, I guess, like, but I felt angry at the time. I remember feeling angry, and I went there. And that's when, you know, it was completely different when I actually saw the state that my dad was in. Like, he was a lot skinnier than I remember. You know, like when I was younger, he used to be pretty muscular. And like, I remember, I always thought he was really strong, you know? And so like when I went to go see him, he was a lot skinnier and just wasn't in a good shape, you know? And it's obviously from all the, you know, the crap he's been doing over the years, you know? Like, he didn't eat right. He didn't exercise. He just had a good he must have had a good metabolism, or it was the droogs. That'll probably keep you skinny. But yeah, this time he did not look very good. And at that point, it was hard. It was really hard to speak my mind, I guess. I talked to him a little bit about some stuff. Like I talked to him how like we kind of felt like strangers, and it just kind of, instead of it being like, oh, like I'm gonna tell you how it is, it was more like, okay, let's just spend more time together. Like, that's all I want. Like, you know, I can be worried about the past all I want and hope that it changed and say, oh, I had a bad childhood, but I just wanted to spend time. I was like, okay, well, all we have is now, right? So let's just spend more time together. Can we at least do that? And so we made plans. And back then, like, I was like really heavy into going to church. Like, I still like church now and stuff, but I don't really go as often. But I thought, like, if anyone needed it, it was my dad. So I was like, hey, let's go to church together. And so we set a time. It was for like the next Sunday or things like that. And my dad did not have a job. He did not have any responsibilities whatsoever. But when it came around, I got on the phone and I called him to see if he was ready. And there was nothing. There was no answer. He was probably asleep, because my dad was probably an insomniac and would never sleep because of all the crap he did. And so he probably just slept the whole time and just missed my call. Like, and it was hurtful, right? That's really hurtful, because like I'm actually trying to make an effort, his son, to spend time with my dad, and here he is over here ignoring my phone call, not taking our commitment like seriously whatsoever. And so that's when I actually realized, I was like, wow, no, he's really not gonna change. I've come to that same feeling with my mom as well, which I'll probably end up doing another story somewhere along the line about my mom. I got a million stories I could do, but I've come to the conclusion that some people, they literally just won't change. And it's not like it's not possible. And you know, I would love for people to change, and like, you can make the change now. You can change anytime you want to. But I realized that there was no signs of that happening, and so I just gave up hope. And I was like, all right, that's it. You know, I understand. Like, I understand his feelings. Like, I understood, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it made me a little angry, and like, even to this day, I still get a little angry when I think about it. But yeah, moving on. As if it couldn't get any worse, a few years passed. My sister told me that my dad had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was struggling to survive. I felt terrible after hearing the news, and I wasn't really sure what to think. Even though my dad wasn't much of a parent, he was still my dad. We ended up taking him to all of his hospital visits, and we made him as comfortable as we could. As his health got worse, we thought that one day he would apologize, or, you know, come to some magical epiphany, and he would tell us that, oh, he's sorry and that he could have been a better father, but instead, he just pretended that everything was fine, when it was literally the opposite. I so badly wanted to talk to him about how I felt, but after seeing how bad his health got and what kind of shape that he was in, I just couldn't bring it up. Yeah, exactly. It feels nice to put this out there, and I can't believe it's reached 700,000 people already. That's probably more than my Draw My Life got. It's crazy. Yeah, I remember getting that call, or it was, I don't know, my sister told me one way or another. It's not really important how it got told to me, but I remember her telling me. I just thought, like, I didn't know what to think, I guess. I don't think I cried, but I just remember thinking, like, it was a weird feeling. Like, it didn't hit me as hard. Like, I wasn't as sad as you probably would have thought that I would have been. And I'm just being honest. I didn't know if it was because, like, you know, I kind of gave up on my dad, or what, or if I just kind of, deep inside, I kind of, like, and it sounds messed up, and I know, but deep inside, I kind of felt like, you know, all of the stuff that he did kind of caught up to him, and that's how I felt. But that doesn't mean that I wanted him to die, or that I wanted him to not get better. Like, in fact, that was the complete opposite. Like, we went from not spending any time together because, you know, my dad didn't make the effort to do it, to he's sick and we have to take him to the hospital because we're his only way. Like, literally, he relied on his side of the family, but they weren't good off at all. And neither, like, they didn't even have a car. So me and my sister, once again, had to step up to the plate, and we would have to take my dad to his hospital visits and keep tabs on him and check up on him. And so we went from not spending any time together once again to spending more time together, except this was the worst possible situation we could use to spend time together. And again, it was such a weird time in my life, because, like, and it was really tough, really tough, because this wasn't me just spending time, you know, great time with my dad. This was just watching my dad suffer. Like, and I mean suffer a lot. I felt so powerless through the entire thing. I would pray and pray and pray, and like, I felt so powerless. There was all I could do for him. Like, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. It just sucks. That's really it. It just really sucked that it had to be this way. At the end of it all, my father didn't make it. The night he passed, I remember rushing out of work, and I headed straight to the hospital, but by the time I got there, he was already gone. My sister and I held each other tight, and we cried really hard next to him, and it's just really hurt knowing that I lost my father, and to be honest, I never really had a father. And look, I know there's no handbook in becoming the perfect mother or the perfect father, and I don't think any child really expects them to be that way. I hope you don't mind me talking. I feel like if there's any story that I could talk about, this is my time to talk. Yeah. The thing is I, you know, we visited the hospital, like, pretty often, I think, and my dad it was really bad. Like, this is only a snippet of the entire situation. This is condensed. Like, I even had more information when I wrote the script, but we had to condense it because I get it. They have to edit the video and all that, so I totally get it. But, you know, my dad, it got so bad. I remember him looking so skinny, like, he didn't even look like the same person that I remember having. And it was such a, if you just want to, you talk about feeling helpless and powerless. That's exactly how we felt. And it was just such a weird situation to know that, like, it's like this is what, like, this was the only time we had to spend together. And it's just so messed up, man. I got a text. It was like more of a text message because I let my boss know at the time that, you know, my dad was going through a lot of stuff, so I would need to get on my phone, which I worked at a warehouse. I wasn't allowed to be on a phone, but they allowed me to, which was really cool for them because they could have been jerks about it. But they let me check my phone, and I got a text message saying that I need to go to the hospital like right away. And they just said that my dad was really bad, and it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. I can't even remember. We had to be at work really early at that time. And I went there, you know, I rushed over there, left work, and I was in the elevator almost to the floor that my dad was at. And that's when his sister called me and told me that he was gone. And I remember my heart was like racing, and I was like, oh. Again, it was more of like an empty feeling inside. Like I didn't burst out in tears, but it was a very, very empty, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking right now feeling. And then I went to his room, and this apparently just happened that morning. So he was still there. So to go into that room and see just, it was actually not as, it wasn't as bad as what you would have thought, because my dad was so bad. He couldn't even, like, he couldn't breathe on his own. Like, he couldn't do anything on his own. So to actually see him there, laying there peacefully and not with the help of a breathing machine and not just struggling to get a word out was actually better than, it was better than what he was at. And, you know, then my sister showed up, and yeah, it was a tough moment right there. I remember coming home that day, and I made a YouTube video. The video's still up. I don't even want to show you or link it to you guys, but yeah, I uploaded a video because I didn't know what else to do. I just wanted to talk to people, and like the video only got like 700 views. Well, no, that's great though. At the time, like, I remember talking to people, and you guys give your condolences. And if you're still there, if you're still here from then, guys, then you're a true scrub. Thank you guys for sticking with me. But yeah, I made that video because I wanted to talk to you guys, and I just felt like, at that moment, after witnessing what I just witnessed, I wanted to do something awesome. I wanted to do something cool with my life. I wanted to not make the same mistakes that my dad made. And I wanted to inspire people, you know? I don't know. That's just what I thought. And that was probably a big moment, you know, for me to want to do YouTube more. Like, making these videos every day means a lot to me. And they're stupid videos. I know they are, but you know, if I can make people happy, and it gives me a purpose, and that's all I want to do. I just thank you guys for sticking with me. I guess there's still a little bit that I can react to. And look, I know there's no handbook in becoming the perfect mother or the perfect father, and I don't think any child really expects them to be that way. All we ever actually wanted from him was to make an effort and, you know, to live to his potential and show that he cared for us. And what I've learned from this is that being a good parent isn't about just watching Cow and Chicken or Johnny Bravo with your child, but it's supporting your child emotionally. You gotta give time to them and being the best possible example a parent can be, so eventually they could go on and do the same with their children. That was really cool. That was really, really cool. I'm really glad to be a part of this. Like, thank you MinuteVideos. Honestly, guys, subscribe, all right? Okay, let's read some of the comments. I was expecting him to talk about maybe his fake brother. No, this story's no clickbait. It's not. It's really not. I wish it was. I wish that segment of my life could have been clickbait. Remember this, even though YouTubers seem so happy and like they don't have anything to worry about, that doesn't mean that their life was perfect. No, not at all. We only show some parts of our life, but you know, guys, it's been years. It's been years since that, and you know, I've gotten over it. Like, literally, I didn't even take much of a break from making videos even when that happened. I was actually inspired more than sad. Even I was sad, but you know, I didn't know what to do at the time. So I was like, I just I just want to make something of my life. And so that's what I did. You know, that's what I'm trying to do, at least. I think I've made it. I'm just very thankful for you guys. And I don't know what to say other than thank you guys like so much. And thank you for the support on this video. Again, I mean, it's to the credit of MinuteVideos, but I'm really glad that this got views because like I was a little scared. Like I didn't know if my story was worthy of views, I guess. I wanted them to like, I honestly wanted them to clickbait it. I wanted them to get as many views as they possibly can. So it just really makes me happy that this story actually got views for them. And it was worth it for them because, you know, it was just kind of a slow process for me to record the lines and we revised the scripts and, you know, we had to cut things out. But yeah, overall, it turned out really good. Really good. As soon as I saw the thumbnail, I knew I was Bijuu Mike. Hey, that's it. You guys do want me to go back to my green hair, don't you? I will one day. I gotta give it a break. I miss the green hair too, okay? I actually did like the pink though, I'm not gonna lie. You're seriously like one of the strongest people. No, I'm not. I'm not. I just want to use like whatever happens to me. I want to use it to help other people. Like the moral of the story, guys, and the reason why I wanted to say it is if you got something to say it now. Because we really don't know. It is so cliche, I know, but it's so true. You don't know when it's gonna be too late. Like we put things off. We really do. We put things off, things that we don't want to do. But, you know, it's important to say it while you can. Just speak up, all right? And grab life by the horns. And so that was kind of the lesson 1 of the video, but also like be good to your children. Have like kids now, like teenagers. Like, don't take kids lightly. Don't take having kids lightly, okay? I know some of you guys, some of you girls, when we've reacted to some of these videos on there where people were getting froggy, all right? Putting their hands where they shouldn't be and watching that MTV, all right? The devil's music channel. But basically, I think it's very important as a young child or a teenager to take, you know, having children, don't take it lightly, because when you have children, they're yours, and you got to support them. You have to actually care for them and give them attention. But, you know, normally when you're young and you have children, you're so focused on yourself and your own life because you didn't get your own, like, you still need to live your own life, but also you have this child that's very important. And so now you don't get to live your life, you have to live with the child, you know? So that's kind of like my message, is that I think people should take having children really seriously and not just be like, you know, be stupid about it, because it's important that you raise your children right and actually care for them, because I could have easily turned out so much different. And I do consider myself like very thankful and blessed that me and my sister turned out the way we did. You know, we could have been on drugs and we could have went to have some pretty bad lives, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so I just hope my message can help you guys. And I couldn't think of any better way to do this other than through like a video like this and through MinuteVideos. I'm so glad that so many people saw this. So yeah, I'm sorry I talked so much and this video is so long probably. I hope this video helped you guys. I just want to say I love you, and I want to say thank you so much for the support. The only thing I want to do now is continue to make videos and to hopefully inspire you guys in one way or another, because that's what's gonna make this worth it. This whole journey, you know, doing all this work, that's what's gonna make it worth it. So thank you for watching. Leave a like, guys. Subscribe to MinuteVideos because they did an amazing job. And yeah, I'll see you in the next reaction. All right, bye guys.